You guys are going to hear me all night saying scooch, 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 scooch. Let's scooch in as close as possible, please. We can go wide, and whenever we see poles on a gallery extending to the end of the sidewalk, those are okay to lean on. All right, well, we are here at our first location. We're going to be speaking about the house directly behind me. It's one of the most photographed buildings in the city of New Orleans, and I do encourage everyone to take a lot of pictures tonight because you never know what you will catch. This is the Gardette Lapret Mansion. Now, that is the official name of the building. Here in New Orleans, we call it the Sultan's Palace. Now, this building was built in the late 1830s by a local dentist. His name was Dr. Gardette. He sold the building a couple of years later to Monsieur Lapret. Lapret was a wealthy sugar plantation owner down in Plaquemines Parish. And he used this house for 30 or 40 years. This was his holiday party weekend house. And the 1860s roll around. Monsieur Lapret falls on hard times. Does anyone know what happened in the country in the 1860s?
Civil War.
1860s, anyone?
War between states?
The War of Northern Aggression, as my sixth grade teacher used to call it.
Mine too.
Well, the 1860s roll around, the Civil War happens. Monsieur Lapret falls on hard times, as do all of the other sugar plantation owners in the state. He needs extra cash, and he decides to rent out his lovely mansion in the city. Well, around the same time, there appears in town a tall, dark, handsome stranger with piercing green eyes, with a single servant, dressed in the clothes of the Ottoman Empire. And he's splashing the cash all around town. People took to calling him the Sultan. But he would say every time, no, please, please, please. I am just a wealthy businessman from the Ottoman Empire. I am not a sultan. Well, the thing about nicknames is you don't get to choose your nickname, so we called him the Sultan anyway. Well, the Sultan himself was looking for a place to rent here in the town. The Sultan and Monsieur Lapret get together, contracts are signed, gold is exchanged. The next thing you know, the Sultan has a place in New Orleans. Well, the next thing that happened is a procession, the likes of which has never been seen before in the city. Orleans Avenue down on the river at the lake. There were other servants that are carrying tapestries and fine furnishings and artwork. There were cooks. There was the harem as well. Does everybody know what a harem is? Well, you can look it up later. These are the personal women of the Sultan. The harem was protected by eunuchs. If you don't know what a eunuch is, you can look that up as well. Just think a snip and
Tuck.
no dip.
Game of Thrones.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, the eunuchs were protecting the harem, and everybody was protected by 12 of the famous Janissary guards from the Ottoman Empire. They all make a procession down Orleans Avenue, up the stairs, and into the home. They close the gate. They close all the shutters, and they are never seen alive in the city again, the whole entourage. But we knew that they were there because every evening we could smell the Turkish food and the incense and the opium wafting into the street. We could hear the sounds of Turkish music and the sounds of pleasure emanating from the second floor. Now, they violated rule number 1 for New Orleans. If you're having a party, you must invite your neighbor. And they neglected to do that. So there was a lot of rumors and innuendo happening. Hey, what's going on in the house there? But we never did find out. Well, this goes on for months and months and months and months. One night around this time of the year, a hurricane blows into town. And we do what we normally do when a hurricane blows into town. We hunker down. We close the shutters, we go inside, and we ride it out. And that is exactly what happened. Well, the next morning, a local gentleman wakes up. surveying the damage in the neighborhood just to make sure everything is okay. And he passes in front of the home here, and what he sees is a thick, red, viscous liquid slowly oozing down the stairs. I'm sure you can guess it was blood. And he immediately goes to the police station. The officers come, and they force their way inside. Now, who here has had an opportunity to have some of our famous Louisiana gumbo? Nobody's had any gumbo? Gumbo eaters? I like gumbo. Well, yeah, good. The scene upstairs was described as a human gumbo.
Oh.
There were heads here. There were torsos there, feet here, body parts scattered everywhere. They had to do a physical head count to accommodate a person. Any guesses? The Sultan, correct. They searched everywhere, all the rooms, nothing. Until they go to the courtyard right here. And they do see a shallow grave. They investigate, they dig it up, and yes, they do see the Sultan has been buried. And not only buried, he was buried alive because we saw the soil around his nose and his mouth, indicating that he was indeed buried alive. Well, why? Why would the entire entourage be slaughtered like that? Come to find out, it was pirates. But no, it wasn't pirates, because we're about a decade or two beyond the pirate period of New Orleans. Under further investigation, we find out that the Sultan was not a sultan at all. He was indeed the brother of the Sultan. He found out that he was not going to be heir to the throne. He takes off with his brother's wealth, his women, his guards, and he's on the run. Shows up here in New Orleans, and a few months later, his brother's able to track him down. That is why they're slain in the house. Now, at this time, there was an edict in the Ottoman Empire that stated, it is against the will of Allah and the Ottoman Empire to shed royal blood. So the guards were not royalty themselves, so they buried the Sultan alive in order to avoid the taboo of having spilled royal blood. So they buried him alive. Well, that's the end of the story for the Sultan in life. But it is said that the Sultan still resides in this building. And it brings us to the 1950s. There was a burlesque dancer working on Bourbon Street. Does everyone know what a burlesque dancer is? Yes, burlesque? Yep. We're thinking more choreography, less gynecology. Well, she was working. She comes home from work one day, and standing on the corner right there, a tall, dark, handsome stranger with piercing green eyes just staring at her. She doesn't think anything of it because she's a burlesque dancer. There are men looking at her all day long, every day. So she goes inside, thinks nothing of it. Second day, she comes home, standing on this corner right here. Same gentleman, tall, dark, handsome stranger, piercing green eyes. She's a bit freaked out, but she hurries inside. She looks out the window, and then he goes away. So she's feeling better about herself, or about the situation. But the third night, she brings someone with her just to make sure that she can get home safely and this guy is not outside stalking her. And she does make it home, and yes, there's no one outside. She goes inside. Standing at the foot of her bed is a tall, dark, handsome stranger with piercing green eyes.
This building?
This building right here, yes.
Okay. All right.
She does what any good Southern woman would do. She pulls out her 38 and fires a shot.
That's what I was going to say.
Exactly. And as soon as she fires that shot, the Sultan disappears. Well, needless to say, she did not spend another night in this building. Which brings us to the 1970s. There was a woman living on the second floor here. Kind of a busy afternoon. She was putting laundry out on the second floor gallery there. Now people see her putting the laundry out, and they see her drop her basket and run to her left. It looks as if she sees someone. She turns around and runs to her right. It's like she can't escape. Something is there looking after her. She jumps off of the second floor to her death in the middle of the street. Unexplained. You don't know why. Now we get to the 1990s. Another doctor owns the building. His wife is a local socialite. She visits all the local bars and restaurants, and anyone who's willing to listen, she will tell them, oh yeah, the Sultan and I are great friends. We hang out every afternoon, eat popcorn, and watch TV. Our favorite show is The Price is Right, of all things. But the thing that the Sultan loved doing most of all was gardening. And they would spend hour after hour after hour in the courtyard there, planting and potting and doing garden stuff. So she asked the Sultan one day, Sultan, what brings you so much pleasure gardening? Why do you like to be in this courtyard and garden so much? Well, the Sultan says to her, I like gardening so much because I was the first thing planted in that garden.
No.
Any questions about the Sultan? Well, the building is occupied now. There are 6 separate apartments there. You can't get on the waiting list to have an apartment. Probably about 3 to 4 year waiting list, and rents are about $3,000 to $4,000 per month. Any questions?
The renters notice something there?
What's that again?
Is the renter, do they notice?
They know, of course they know, but some renters choose to have that location because of the Sultan.
He could at least split the rent.
I mean, you know, you can have a roommate, you might as well. All right, thanks a lot.
Are we going to see some vampires on this tour?
We're not going to see, well, we might see some. Yes, let's go and see some right now. Let's go.